testimony, and I gotta let you know on the Witness Spot.
Welcome to the Witness Spot podcast, where we interview our guests about the amazing things that God has done for them in their lives and how he has kept them throughout their struggles. I'm Thomas.
And this is Gabby.
And we're the hosts of the Witness Spot. Let's get into it.
Today we have a special guest here, and I can't wait to hear what she has to say. I'm going to let her introduce herself.
All right. Well, I am Monica Goodlett. Everybody knows me as the Chester's kids. Mom and Dad, Ken and Diane Chester, prominent members of the church. Very active, very involved. And so, yeah, always as we were little. Yeah, those are Chester's kids. But yeah, no, been in the church, Christ Apostolic Temple, my entire life, literally. And so, yeah.
Oh, so you pretty much answered the next question. Was you born in church? Like, you know, like some people, like, you know, their parents may be in church, but the kids, they don't force them kids to go. But I guess in your case, yeah,
Kind of had
no choice.
No. My parents moved here from the East Coast, and no kids. My dad's job brought them here. Grinnell, Iowa, actually. They met Pawpaw, and it was a wrap.
Yep, that'd do it.
And so they were trying to have kids, had some issues, and I guess just one particular service, Pawpaw Bishop Jeremiah Reed, I call him Pawpaw, just happened to, I guess, pray for my mom and everybody, he would often talk about that crooked finger. Pray for my mom, and I was the first. And then my brother and my sister followed. So yeah, born and raised.
Awesome.
Well, tell us your story. Let us know your testimony.
Oh man, so lots of things. You know, growing up in the church, you hear, you see just about everything. And even though, you know, born and raised in church, I don't think I like really truly like baptized in Holy Ghost till like I think I was 9 or 10. But as we all know, you know, you're growing up in church and, you know, you might not be fully there, but back in our day, like you had to come to church. There was no staying home. Mm-hmm. So you're here. And I truly believe, and even in my kids, because we kind of did the same thing, although we kind of gave them a little balance. But even though you may not understand or fully listening, there is still transmission, you know, being delivered through the word that I believe gets down in you. And, you know, as you get older and you grow up, those things are going to come out and come alive. And those are definitely things, you know, that has helped me in my life. But, you know, growing up in the church, you know, everybody has their thing. I did do a little dirt. Ain't gonna lie.
Welcome to the team.
Right. And so, I know one of the things that, and I don't know if anybody's been in my dad's Sunday school class or just in talking to him in general, he'll kind of, you know, talk about this amongst various things. But middle school was kind of that turning point for me, and kind of started, and I would say throughout my life, like every time, like I started to go down, you know, a path that wasn't great, God would always use Bishop, the man of God, to like redirect me and get me back on the right path. But this particular one, boys was kind of my issue to some degree. And so kind of started getting involved with some guys. And one particular summer, Bishop, he had the ranch down in Oklahoma. And so he sent me down there for like, it was supposed to be just a month, and ended up staying the entire summer. And that summer, I believe, and as my dad would often mention it, like totally changed me, changed my thinking, you know, being down there, you know, back in that day, we didn't have cell phones and all that or whatever. So like, it was pretty much like you were like cut off. And not cut off in a bad way, but you had limited communication with people. And so, you know, growing up, because we grew up with the grandkids, so we were with the grandkids. And so just being down there being in fresh air on the ranch with the cows and things. Because, living here, even though we are Iowa, we're not out in the farms. We're in the, central city. So you don't see all that unless you go to the fair. So like being live up close to that, it was just like, oh my God. So that was probably one of the things that like really like, got me right on the right track. I remember there was one night he had come down this particular weekend, spend a couple days, and we were all sitting in the living room and we were watching this movie. I don't remember what it was, but it was like kind of like a streets movie. And it was like this kid, I guess like growing up in the streets and getting involved. And like he had this girl and something happened to the girl. And so Bishop Papa looked at me and he was like, this is what I'm trying to save you from, or something to that effect. And that just like, oh shoot.
Yeah.
Let me act right here.
Yeah.
So that had an impact. Just many things. I know high school was another one. I thought, there was an individual that was going to be it.
Mm-hmm.
We were going to, be together, all that.
Yeah.
And a situation happened, cut that off. And it was like devastating at the time because like, this is my life. This is what I'm going to do and
right.
blah, 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 blah. And always in everything I do, I feel like there's a purpose. There's a purpose why everything happens. And that was another thing that was like, okay, you're in church and you're going to be in church. And in that, in that situation, there was a time where it was like, okay, this happened. Like, what am I going to do? Like, my life is falling apart. And one particular evening, Papa was teaching, and, we have the computer screen and everything in the computer. And the person, I don't know what happened with them, but he needed somebody else to run it. And he pointed at somebody that was sitting behind me, and I'm like ducking and dodging,
Oh, we know. We're like, look, who?
Not me.
And so the person was like, mm-mm. And he was like, you, Chester, you.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, like I know the Bible, but like not like that.
Right.
Right.
And so I was like, okay. And I know that, and that was one of the things with Bishop, like he knew people, he knew everybody. And he knew, I'm not going to say no to him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, that feeling like, it's the Holy Ghost, you feel it, but you don't want to admit it. But it's like, okay, Lord, that changed my life. Sitting over there, Papa calling out scriptures, like it came alive, like running the computer, like it forced me to listen in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And things that it was like, oh man, wow, like
Mm-hmm.
this is really true. Like he would break it down. Like y'all know, like Papa, he was a teacher. Like even in college, it was like, I'd rather listen to him.
Yeah.
Like, cause he like explains things to where you can understand it. But that just, helped me. I know I got a lot of things, so this can go on forever. But,
No, you're good.
but those things like that, where he used Bishop, the man of God, to like different situations, like pull me back in and redirect me. And now like it's progressed. Like it started with the choir because I was young, did the computer, and involved in other things in the church too. Because when you're young, like you guys stay active, you guys
do
stay
everything.
busy.
Yeah.
And so that led me to like, he asked me to be in the finance with my mom, and everybody like, I'm the healthcare person in my family. My family's business, so everybody is like, "Oh, are you sure?" But I know that he knew that he could trust me, and that I would do it to the best of my ability. And I ain't gonna, Sister Chester. So anyway,
Right.
enough said.
Yeah.
But she's the sweetest lady too. Everybody like thinks she's like me.
Oh,
But
no.
no, she's like the sweetest person. She just don't play when it comes to
Right.
business. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Exactly. They just don't know her. That's why.
right,
Yeah.
right. She's the sweetest lady.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just things progress, finance, and then through that ended up being on the board. And I don't know, I feel like I was probably, definitely at the time, I was definitely like the youngest person on the board.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what am I? Okay. But what's been put in me, you know, I'm going to speak up and say something if I feel like I need to. So I believe like he saw things in me and God saw things in me that I didn't see, and has developed me to where I am today. You know, amongst all the different mistakes and the dirt that I did, like it all worked together to get me to where I am today. And so just trying to do good in the world.
Yeah.
What do you think? What did it mean for you working with your mom in finances?
Oh man, that's a good question. Just understanding her more, and it was her commitment to God and the church, and that seeing that, you know, growing up, like I knew that, but like being in it and like literally doing the work, like I understand and see like why it was so important to her. And, you know, as kids, like I didn't give her like any grief because literally we would be the family like last ones to leave the church, you know, well into the late evening sometimes because they would do their duties after service. And, you know, that can get out kind of late sometimes. So we would get home late. But just her commitment, that taught me how to commit myself and to be dedicated and committed. So just understanding her more, seeing her love for God and for Bishop, they worked closely together, and just to see her love for him and his love for her, that really saved our family, because, you know, every family
Yeah.
has something.
I love.
And so through God, through Bishop, I believe held us together. And I feel like our family is tremendously blessed and covered because of my mom's commitment to God and the church. So the blessings I truly feel are because of her commitment. So,
Yeah, I felt that. Have you ever felt like, you know what, I'm done with this. I'm just gonna
yeah.
give up. I'm out.
Yeah, and I think like several, you know, growing up in the church, literally from birth, you go through transitions. I would say like high school, that time frame was a big one, and even just recently.
Oh Lord, Lord help her.
Within, you know, the recent years, because like you've been it, you know, you've been in it so long, you know, and I don't know how to say this, but, and it's not bad, but we came up very legalistic. And so like you feel like you've like lost out and you missed out on things. And so like certain people, like when they do get to those certain stages, they just, what do they say, crash out, ball out.
Yep.
And just like go crazy. And not that I did that or did like anything crazy, but it was just like, just that mind, like, man. And even through Bishop Dwight, even there's been times where it's like, oh, okay, he would like reach out something. And it was like, okay. I know one time, I don't know, this was like, it was really bad. It was really, really bad. Like rage and anger. Just upset at just like life and how things were going. But I just know like I was like just angry. And we were in Omaha at the church service there. And that was like a really high, powerful service, of course. And he was walking through the crowd. Now we are sitting in the way back. And he like comes walking up. And he just like, he's praying for different people. And he prayed for me. And I'm like, oh my God. And it just like whatever it was, just like simmered down and just like went away. So it's like, okay. but just the different points and different transitions, you just feel like you want to, experience life. And so different situations have happened, and I'm like, what in the world is this? Like, I'm not used to this. Like, what is going on? So I did go and travel, did travel nursing, and that gave me time to get away. I made some good money.
Let me hold something just a little bit.
That's all right.
Made some good money, but it was a chance to get away and like just process things. And every because I went to three different places, and each one I feel like God, there was something in that, whether it was for me or whether it was for somebody else, that I needed to go there to those places. Even though I thought I was doing it for one reason, it ended up kind of being another one, and ended up like helping and mending some things. So everything, you go through is not really necessarily for you. It may be for somebody else. So
Yeah, that's true, because it's kind of like they need a example. Like, they see you under pressure, so they might be like, oh, they're about to break. Oh, I'm about to watch, about to watch. But then when they see you come out of it, they're like, oh, then I can come out of it too.
Right.
So yeah, not everything is meant for you.
Yeah.
It might be meant to help somebody else.
Yeah.
Just seeing your parents working in church. I know Deacon Chester, he was Sunday school teacher. He's done
Choir director.
Look,
Like some of everything.
Yeah. Your parents worked in church, and just seeing that for you, I know it made an impact on you for your children. How important is it for you to let your kids see you in church? And talk a little bit about that, if you will.
I think it's a part of it. I feel like my kids had a bigger village than I did, all the way around on both sides of the family. Because, you got, pastors on one side and then dedicated grandparents on the other, very active. And then, of course, like different people that work closely with us, they got to like kind of help, guide and raise, because they in the house, you try to protect your kids from things, but in all, they see things. They see when you're, down and out and everything, even though you try to, but they see you press on, right? And so I think, because we had them very young, like we were in our 20s.
Right.
and Joe is like going to college, so it's like crazy. But I think it was helpful for them to see us active, involved. And then you have your grandparents. It's ingrained in them. I was telling somebody like a few weeks ago, I feel like my mom being so close and being so active with Bishop, I feel like my kids got a double dose. Because they would, my mom, she was like, no, you're not putting them in childcare or, daycare or whatever. And so she's working. She may got to go to the house. She might got to go into the office. So they're right there with her. And so I don't, I'm working, we're working. And so, I'm sure they got like little nuggets of things throughout their life. So just a combination, just that village. But I think it is important to see, for the kids to see their parents, because like I said, they're in the house, they see what's going on. And so to see their parents persevere and go through things and still serve God to the best of their ability, that helps them in their walk. So
yeah, I agree with that. I think about my mom, all the stuff she been through.
yeah.
I'm like, man, mama, just stay home today. Like, you don't gotta go. Just stay home.
Right.
She pressed her way right
She
on.
did. And she was there. Yes, she was.
So it's definitely seeing,
Yeah.
having that balance where, the kids see that your parents is going through a whole lot, but yet you still faithful to God.
That's something like when I was a kid, like I saw like my parents, that really helped me, I think, to stay in church. Like now I'm able to work with my mom now.
Yeah.
So just
See,
seeing
you get
that,
it.
I understand. No, but just working and seeing my parents, like when they press through, it does something for me, and I'm able to think, you know what, my dad did this, my mom did that. I can take a little bit more, and it really it impacted me.
And I would say, like, not even like the parents, like some of the saints, like Thomas was saying, like his mom, like just seeing that, like it's like, oh, and me being a nurse, like I get it, like I know, like, but no, even just some of the older saints and like just seeing them, like they've, Sister Poge, like some of the other ones, it's like they've served and all their life, they had their life and everything they had to go through, and they're still, to the best of their ability functioning. The one thing, Bishop, like that's what really impacted me. There was a time period where he got sick and he was still preaching and teaching. And it was just amazing to see, like, oftentimes they would roll him, in the wheelchair, and he would get up, preaching and teaching. You wouldn't know he was not feeling well. He wasn't, and then after he get done, it was like, he gave everything that he had. And then just when he got done, you could just see it. And I was like, man, like I have no excuse.
Right.
Like no matter how I'm feeling, like physically, mentally, like that's what keeps me going, like those things, in different things, but definitely that, like still functioning to the best of their ability and serving God, loving people and serving God. So, yeah.
What advice would you give somebody that may be struggling with their faith? I know there's a lot of people out there, but what advice would you give?
I would say, and I have to, again, think of the mind frame of we're speaking to those that may not be in church. Like, find a church, true church, that, people aren't perfect. There's no perfect church at all. And so just find that church that has the truth and serve God to the best of your ability, but in those times where just don't feel like you're worthy or doing or whatever the case may be, get active. Find something to do.
Yeah.
And then just keep coming. Many a times, I don't even know how I made it to church sometimes. You often hear like people like on autopilot and their car just brings you to church. Like that has literally like happened for me like many a times. Like, and there's been times like, Lord, I don't want to go. I do not want to go. But in those times, it's like I learned, and I had to stop saying that, because it's like in those times, that's when God did something and broke something.
Yep.
So it's like, okay, God, I may not feel like it, but I know that you may have something for me, so I need to go ahead and go on and go. But all again, I would just say find that church, get active, because being active, that also does something for you. That gives you a great appreciation for God, for his people, and to help you do what you need to do personally. It keeps you. So get active and keep coming to church.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I know we hear that a lot, that, like that's cliche, but
it's true. It's really true.
Yeah. In all situations, you never know what God's going to do.
Yep.
So you just have to, and that's what I'm learning. Like, you have to do your best. You have to show love. You have to show grace, because you don't know what God's going to do through you. And it could be in the season that I am in. I am a big advocate for mental health. And I have come to know and understand that, yes, you can have God, but it's okay to have a therapist too.
Ooh, I said that before. Oh, I said that before.
And in church, people in church, and I know because I was there, like, why am I going to tell somebody, talk to somebody else when I'm supposed to be talking to God and all this stuff? But you can. And so some people, you might need a therapist.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
And it's not telling somebody like all of your problems. It's sometimes there's strategies and different ways of thinking. They challenge you to think differently about a situation. And that could be just all that you need to like change your outlook. Because sometimes we get in our mind and in our head on things. And it's not that you don't love God or anything like that, but you just need, it's okay to have something else. Because again, cliche, everybody hears, we have a doctor, you have a nurse practitioner, you have you have a heart doctor, you have a medical health team that helps you with your physical problems. There is a team that helps you with mental.
Right.
And so use that as well if you feel like you need to. Because for some people, it is a chemical imbalance. For some people, it is just they get in their head. And some people, whatever it may be, they just need that person to help them talk it through. So I would say in this season for me, and yes, I have a therapist that I see, that you can have Jesus, love Jesus, serve Jesus, talk to Jesus all day long, and you can have a therapist and you'll be all right. Definitely pray, love God, and all that good stuff. So.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. We hope that you enjoyed today's episode and hope that this testimony has encouraged you to keep pressing on. Stay up to date with our latest episodes on the AON app, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, and Amazon Music. New episodes are released every week, so stay tuned for more content. Like, share, and comment. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at The Witness Spot.
The Witness Spot.